Hi, I'm Laine Reinecke Clayton. I'm a third grade teacher for math and science at Cedar Hills Elementary School in Jacksonville, Florida. I entered teaching after having 25 years in the domestic violence field. I was a community educator. We were doing a lot of violence prevention work in the schools and bullying prevention in the elementary schools. I had secretly, since age 7, always wanted to be a teacher. So I went back to school, I got my degree, and I started teaching. So it was one of the best moves I ever did, but making a career change late in life was a little scary. I highly recommend it for anybody that feels like they've gotten stagnant where they are. It has definitely rejuvenated me. If I could do any other job and why, I really can't think of another job that I would want to do right now. Maybe social worker. Teachers are part social worker anyway, so that would make a lot of sense. I loved what I did going out and doing public health education. That was really important to bring information to people about issues they might not otherwise have, bring them community resources. That was a really integral part of my previous job, and it's something I've been able to utilize very well in my teaching career. I'm at a Title I school here in Jacksonville, Florida, so many of our students and their families face a lot of issues, and having knowledge of resources and how to navigate the system has helped enhance my teaching skills. How are kids different now than 30 years ago? Well, I have a unique perspective because I have a 34-year-old daughter that currently has a 4-year-old daughter. So I can remember her at 4, and I look at her daughter now, and some of the biggest changes that I see, honestly, it's all about the technology. It's all about social media. My daughter had a book when she was little that had a pen that if you chose the right, how many dots were in the circle, the pen would make a sound. That's the biggest technology we had 30 years ago for her. Now, in elementary schools 30 years ago, I know that were starting to explore some technology options, but they were seriously limited. The other thing that I see is different is the fact that kids have such access to social media, and that can be both good and bad. They get a lot of points of view, they get a lot of information, but without some safety enhancements in place by parents, educators, and others, and without the tools to really be able to discern some of the information that they're taking in, they could definitely get some information that was inappropriate or not factual. So that's the biggest difference that I see, is the advent of technology and social media. How is teaching different? Well, if it's different for the students to have technology, it's absolutely different for the teachers to have technology. I know when I was going to school, when both my kids were going to school, most everything was pen and pencil. You might occasionally, once a week, go to a computer lab, but it wasn't a regular part of teaching. Our technology was an overhead projector that the teacher wrote on a clear film that showed up and projected on a screen. Today, I have Smartboard and other apps plugged into my computer, that I have a document camera that I can use much the same way we use those old overhead projectors, but it's much smaller, and I can use it to show anything, not just writing. And I have a lot of means of technology at my disposal just within the document camera system, let alone having a Smartboard, an interactive whiteboard that I can project lessons. My students can come up using their finger and write on my screen and answer math problems. I can move symbols and text around using that Smartboard technology. So that has just been incredible to me coming into it late in life. There were a lot of things I had to learn about how to use that technology effectively, and I can't really visualize teaching without it, only because it is an expectation of students. They're used to getting images this way, so we needed to learn to teach that way, so that our messaging was getting across to the students. So what would you tell someone right now that is thinking about becoming a teacher? Do it. Go back to school, do it. You will not regret it. Although my first day of teaching was my 51st birthday, so I was definitely told the kids, I'm old enough to be your grandma. Kids are kids, and they need people in their corner. They need people that will really be there for them, that will have patience and understanding and want to see only the best in them, that will recognize the incremental growths and the huge gains and applaud them all the same. Because a lot of my students, again, have many challenges. And so it's up to me to tap into their strengths and help to kind of encourage that, and also to recognize their weaknesses and work with them to find the best way to overcome those challenges so that their learning is more enriched for them, that they understand better and deeply. They're not memorizing facts, they're really learning real world applications for the math that they have to master in third grade. And third grade is a really big year. But to anybody that's considering it, it is the hardest job you'll love with all your heart. I'm so glad I became a teacher. I think it's easier now that I'm older and I don't have little ones at home that I have to worry about. But I also get to use my grandchildren to bounce learning ideas off of. And so far, everything they've said, that's awesome, go with it. They've been spot on. And everything they were like, I don't understand, or this is really boring, they've been spot on. So use the people in your life to help you be able to deliver the best lesson content that you can to make a difference for kids. And last thing, what is one thing you would change to help kids learn better? The support that they have outside of the classroom. I'm not just talking parental engagement. We can talk about that all day long. But someone in that child's life that they can tell about what they're learning, that will get excited about what they're learning, that will want to know and have the patience for them to explain what they're learning. Somebody to be kind of an education mentor to that child outside of the classroom. That makes all the difference in the world in feeling you're worthy as a kid when somebody wants to listen to what you learned in school today. And as far as parental engagement goes, I hear from parents all the time, I don't understand this math, I don't get it, I don't have time. Use the time that you have. When you're in the grocery store, and something is $2 for $5, give the kid a piece of paper and a pencil and say, okay, how can we figure out what one box is going to cost us? Or if they say they want something, help them explain how they could do things around the house to earn the money for that box of cereal that they want. When you're cooking, ask them to help you with measurements. When you're sorting items, ask them to help you with sorting. So many things that we do in our lives that are so, second nature to us are learning opportunities we can share with our kids. And as for science, it's everywhere. Literally take a walk around your yard and see how many different kinds of grass are in your backyard. How many different kinds of leaves you can find. And looking at the stars. When can you see stars better? When it's a cloudy night or when it's a clear night? There are options all around us. So you don't have to sit down and do that homework with a kid. Instead, you can ask them questions throughout your interactions that help them use those critical learning skills that are so imperative to them being successful in the classroom. So that is my 7-question video. Thank you so much for this opportunity.